I'm Chef Michael Montgomery from the Culinary School, the Rockies in Boulder. Today, we are making a really festive fall treat. Right in time for Halloween, we're gonna do some caramel apples. Before I even talk about the apples and what we're gonna do with the apples I've chosen, I wanna finish up our caramel, because that's the first thing I do if I was working on this at home. Get your caramel done. So what I have here in this saucepan is 2 cups of white sugar, a little bit of water to make the sugar look like wet sand, and then you're gonna put it over high heat, let it boil, the water's gonna boil off, you're gonna start cooking your sugar, and it's gonna turn into something that gets really beautiful and amber in color. So you can take it a little darker if you like a slightly more bitter caramel, or you can keep it on the lighter side. I like mine almost as far as I possibly can go, because I like that bitter, sweet contrast. So once I have a nice amber color, remember it's just my 2 cups of sugar, I'm gonna take a 1/2 cup of cream and I'm going to just add it on in. You're gonna have some reactions, so be prepared, don't burn yourself. You'll get some sputter, it's okay, it'll go away. Whisk and work the cream into that very, very hot sugar. Sometimes the sugar will crystallize, it'll seize up and turn into sort of a crispy mass. Just put it back over the flame and cook it out. It'll be fine. The sugar will dissolve and you'll have that really nice, smooth, beautiful caramel sauce. I actually have the flame off at this point because this is remaining nice and soft. A lot of air bubbles in it right now. Those will actually go away and then it'll look like a really beautiful traditional caramel sauce. That's all we've made here. You could pour it over ice cream. You could do a number of things with it. It's perfect for dipping our beautiful little apples. So I'm gonna just keep whisking, working this cream in until it starts to smooth out and we're well on our way to a nice, smooth, shiny sauce. I have a little sea salt here. I like to do a pinch, maybe even 2, just to give us that nice salty flavor, because there's nothing like sweet and salty at the same time. And some of our toppings on our apples, maybe we'll have some salted nuts that we've chosen to put on the outside. It'll really help to have a little salt in the caramel. All right, so we're there. It's looking really nice. What I have here is a bowl of ice water. So I just want to really quickly cool down the temperature of our caramel right now. So I'm going to certainly use pot holders. This is very, very hot. And I'm just going to place it into the water. Try not to melt the ice quickly and then flood your caramel. Not a very good thing. So pay attention that you're not going to actually get water into your caramel. Gently whisking it. And what we want to do, I have a candy thermometer over here. We want to get this down to 200 degrees. That's the magic number. We were probably up around 240. So we want to make sure we drop down to 200 degrees. That's going to be actually the perfect temperature to coat our apples. It's not going to be too hot. If it's too hot, it's thinner. It's going to slide right off. So it looks like we're right around just over 200 degrees. I'm reading like 206. So I'm going to keep it in that ice water. Probably is only going to take another minute or so to cool down to where we want. Don't leave it in there too long. It's going to get far too thick and be almost impossible to dip. We are definitely there. Going to pull it out of my water. Again, this is still hot, so use caution. And I'm going to transfer this now into a little steel bowl. The reason I'm doing this, it's going to be a little bit deeper so I can actually coat my apples a little bit easier. This is a pretty wide pot. It's just a shallow puddle of caramel sauce. So this is going to give us a little more depth. Rest of this as much as I can out. So again, you'll be amazed at how quickly this starts to set up. You need to work fast. If you're doing it with your family, have them in the kitchen waiting patiently, of course, but have them ready to go. What I have here is some beautiful little local Jonathan apples. These do not have wax, so you don't have to worry about taking the wax off. If you notice your apple, from the market is all shiny with wax, just dip it into some hot water, simmering water for about 10 seconds, pull it out, And wipe it off right away, and that hot water is actually going to dissolve the wax for you. And then you can wipe it right off and dry it. However you do, whatever you're doing, make sure your apples are very, very dry and as waxless as possible. Then you're going to actually allow this gorgeous caramel to coat. So what I'm doing is I just jammed a lollipop stick. You can get those at like Michael's craft stores. I jammed a lollipop stick into the top of that pretty little apple, working quickly, and I'm just turning it in that caramel. I like to only go about halfway because I like to showcase how beautiful the apples are. So I leave the top exposed. I turned and got a nice, even, pretty thick coating, and now I'm going to place it on a sheet pan with a piece of parchment paper down and just some neutral oil. I used rice bran oil. You could use canola, whatever. If you have cooking spray, go ahead and use that. We just want a little bit of oil so those will actually release. Sometimes it's tricky to get them off once that caramel starts to set. I have a popsicle stick too. I have a feeling that's going to be a little easier. It is. So I just jammed a popsicle stick again. Usually grocery stores have popsicle sticks. Craft stores always have this type of thing. Turning my apple in our still hot caramel sauce, but it's getting thicker very, very quickly. So again, work fast. That looks just beautiful. You can turn it upside down if you want it to run a little bit more and you want more of a coating. If it looks like you're not getting enough caramel on your apple, let it set up a little bit and then go back in and dip a second time. And you have to, of course, put something on a few of these. I always like to keep a few plain because I personally love them plain as well, just to taste that really nice apple with a nice salty caramel. But I do have some really nice toppings. So I have got some pistachios, which look really festive actually. The green and the brown looks a lot like Halloween. You could use toasted pistachios, a rough chop. I've got some peanuts that have been toasted, salted, and rough chop, toasted coconut, and even some dried fruit. Cranberries are really beautiful. You could easily put a few cranberries on there. So now, this is already setting up really fast. This is when the kids can help because it's not as hot. Process of dipping is a little dangerous because the caramel is so hot. So I would now get everybody involved and allow them to coat their apple however they want. So what I'm doing is just taking a few of these peanuts and trying to actually press them in. And it's not really doing a very good job at all because the caramel is set up so much. But let's try the one that I just dipped, and these will stick in here. So if you have to apply some force, apply force. But don't wait too long. Like I waited too long on that first one. This one, we actually have some nice peanuts stuck into the caramel. Beautiful. We'll keep this one plain. This one, maybe we can get a few pistachios in. If you need to, you can put it in the palm of your hand, clean hands, and actually turn the apple around in the palm of your hand if you really need to press in. So I'm just getting a light coating of pistachios on the base, but it looks really gorgeous with a few pistachios as well. Simple as that. And I would say, if you want to do 6 to 8 apples, that 2 cups of sugar, half a cup of cream is the perfect amount of caramel sauce for you to be able to coat about 6 or 8 apples. Caramel apples. Thanks very much.